What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Etheria Restart. In today's video, we're going to be covering my personal tier list of what characters you should be upgrading to 5-star and which ones you should be upgrading to 6-star. We are going to cover it in tier list format, but first I'm going to show you where I am currently in the game. I have currently farmed Termaton Hell 3. I can farm it semi-consistently. I can farm pretty consistently Hell 4, but I usually do Hell 3 because I have it in 100% accuracy. And then Hell 1 for the Aurora. I haven't really farmed too much Aurora, but this is going to be my next project once I get every piece that I need for my characters from Doki Doki and Termaton. As far as the other dungeons, I did clear Hell 2 Shadowflame Hoyan pretty easily, and I will share with you what characters helped me the most to progress when I upgraded them to 6 stars. Obviously, I don't have every character in the game, and there are some characters, for example, Beotin, that I feel like if I had this character, she would help me progress a little bit further, so I'm going to cover those as well. So Beotin, for me, is going to be eventually a 5-star because Beotin is the type of character that you can just pick up, use as a 4-star, let her gain levels as you grind, and then when she gets eventually to level 40, you can use the Shadow Prince to get her to 5-star, and then she'll eventually reach level 45. And if eventually you want to 6-star her because you have enough, then by all means. But as a 4-star or as a 5-star, Beotin does so much work. She is so good. She's one of the few characters in the game that gives a crit damage buff, and that is a very significant buff. There's only her, and the other one I'm going to talk about is Lily, which is another one that this is a must 6-star in my opinion. He's very, very fast, but these two characters I don't have, but they're the only two characters that have a crit damage buff, and I feel like if I had these two characters, or one of these two characters, my progression through Termaton, for example, would be a lot smoother. So if you have Beotin, you don't have to level her up that much. The only reason I'm putting Lily at must 6-star is because she is one of the fastest characters in the game, and you want to make her even faster by getting that extra 5 speed from getting her to a 6-star. So she is pretty much one of the premier PvP units that you're going to see pretty much in any team that you go against. So not only for PvP, PvE as well, Lily is going to be insane. So that's why I'm going to put her as a 6-star. This is the type of character that you want to invest as much as you can into her, and she will be phenomenal. All right, following along with Chiaki the Echo, I think she is an eventual 5-star character as well. She's another character that you can use. Actually, I'm going to put her in must 5-star because for her, primarily, you're going to be using her in Doki Doki. You could use her in Termaton as well, but for Doki Doki specifically, those bosses, when you get to Hell 3, Hell 4, they hit very, very hard. So she will need a little bit of more survivability here if you're not going to one-shot the wave, which most of us are not going to be one-shotting Hell 4 anytime soon, for example. So if you get Chiaki the Echo, I would recommend using her as a 4-star and letting her level up naturally. Do not invest any investigation materials into her. Let her level up naturally. And then once you get up to the 5-star upgrade level, upgrade her to 5-star so she can get extra bit of survivability, and then leave her there for the time being. She doesn't need anything else. Eventually in the future, if you want to use her for a PvP unit, you can 6-star her. But for right now, in the first 8 days of the game, you really just can leave her as a 5-star and she will do phenomenally well. Same thing with Dina. Dina is a character that requires very little investment when it comes to lattices, but because you're going to be using her in Termaton more likely than not, you're gonna want some survivability on your Dina, so having her at 5-star will add a bit of bulk into her so she won't die as easily. However, this is the only real investment. You can literally use her at 4-star, let her level up naturally as well, and then level or ascend her to a 5-star when the time is right. And then once she's maxed out, you can just leave her there. If you go back to my game, we can go ahead and take a look at my Dina. Right now, my Dina is level 20 and she's on her way to level 45. I have not invested a single one of these books on her in the slightest. I've only used these books on DPSs that I have gotten after the fact, and I want to catch them up really quickly, like Didding and Romoka, for example. But as you can see, Dina, no level ups, no skill ups, no nothing. And yeah, I got her to 5-star, and she is she still dies every now and then. But once you get her to level 45, she should be having an easier time surviving in a lot of these fights. All right, Claus is another character just like Dina. You're going to use her in Doki Doki or in Termaton or both. So those bosses hit pretty hard, so getting her to a 5-star level so she doesn't die is very important, because if you don't, then your Termaton run is just going to go flat, especially if you're not using a character like Valerian, which is eventually a 6-star character. I'm just going to put her right here. Valerian is an eventual 6-star character because her shield depends on her HP, and you get more HP if you're higher level. But going back to Kloss, she's another character just like Dinab. The only thing is that Kloss adds a little layer of extra survivability because her debuff, her hacking in progress, makes the enemies deal less damage as well, not just amplify your team's damage, which is really, really good. Now, my boy Ditting. Ditting, you just have to 6-star Ditting. If you have one copy of Ditting, if you have it maxed out, everybody should be building Ditting. If they end up nerfing the boy, then it is what it is. But for the time being, he is probably the best farming character we have in the game. He is dealing so much fucking damage. It's actually insane. You can run him on Kenai Onslaught, how I have him right now. You can also run him on Kenai Fury. Any set that deals damage. Momentum is probably his best set as well, because you always want to pack the boss with debuffs and then snipe him down with Ditting. He's good in Union Boss. He's good in every single dungeon except Doki Doki. So he is just an incredible character. So if you have the boy Ditting, you should be at least leveling up to 6 stars and investing as much as you can into his prowess. I would say leave him up to here. Get this little last one. I'm still farming a little bit of these, but I would get this little last 10 and then leave this like this. If you want to get this too, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But as far as getting him up to 6-star, this is a character that you really want to prioritize getting up to 6 stars, because you will not regret it. He will help you so much. All right, next up we have Fengus. I haven't needed Fengus. I haven't had to use Fengus, but if you are one of those dot players, actually we're gonna get the entire dot squad up in here, because I feel like they're the same. They're all in the same boat essentially. The only thing with Shadow Zania is you don't have to get her to 6 stars, because dots are according to the boss's max HP. So her dots are going to deal the exact same damage. However, you do need a quite hefty lattice investment. You need 4 for her basic attack. And then these guys need to be at least, Fengus at least needs to be fully latticed out for him to be extremely well. But all these guys are really good for farming some of the dungeons. RIP to the Aurora dot farming. That was a really bad move by XD. But for Termaton, Fengus, and Shadow Zania are pretty much one of the better farming teams for Hell 4 and above. And you're going to see a lot of them once you reach the Inferno stage. Most of the teams are going to be Shadow Zania and Fengus paired up with Lily. So even though I have personally not needed any of these characters, and I have them, these are characters you're going to want to eventually 5-star. I mean, you don't have to get them all the way up to 6 stars, but eventually you are going to do it anyway if you're going to use them. But like I said, even though I haven't needed them, very good. You should invest a little bit into them if you are into this type of playstyle. My boy Gary. Gary has just been invaluable throughout the entirety of my runs in this game. He has just been cooking Doki Doki. Yeah, you run him with Romoka, you run him with Valerian and Kaz and Kloss, and then you have a killer Doki Doki team. His defense down on this skill right here is invaluable, coming off the crit rate up for the Romoka to be able to finish off those buffs in those fights, those phases. She finishes them off pretty much instantly. So Gary, and aside from that, Gary deals a lot of damage. So if you have him at 6 stars, how I do, he will be dealing like 14, 15, 16k if you have a decent set on him in his basic attacks and on his AoE defense break. This will set the stage for your Romoka to come and clean it up. Very good character to 6-star indeed. Also in PvP, he's been killing it for me too, so there's that. Moving on to Heinrich. I think Heinrich is going to be, for now, for me, is going to be a must 5-star. I already have him at 5-star. The only reason I don't have him as a must 6-star is because I haven't really gotten too deep into Aurora, but I feel the deeper I get into Aurora, the more I'm going to rely on Heinrich to dispel these debuffs and to not die. Like, that's the main issue right now, that if you have a character in 4 stars and you're farming Hell 2, 3, and 4, you're very likely to die, because if you're not one-shotting or two-shotting or two-turning or two-cycling, like I want to say, the boss, if you take 3 hits from any boss, you're just gonna die. And then if you're at 5-star, you're gonna die even faster. So for right now, I'm not finding myself needing Heinrich to justify a 6-star, but for definitely a 5-star. For sure a 5-star. I do use him in Aurora, the stages that I have been farming, which I think it's I think Nightmare 3 or Hell 1, I don't remember which one. But eventually, once I start farming Hell 3, 4, and Inferno Aurora, he is definitely going to go up to a 6-star. But for right now, I'm going to leave it at a must 5-star, because everything below that, he's just going to die too quick. Now, Chloros is a very interesting character. If it wasn't because Holden is coming tomorrow, I would put Chloros in a must 6-star. And if you have Chloros and you do not want Holden, I will put Chloros in the must 6-star section because he does deal insanely high amount of damage. So any DPS, you want to put him at 6-star to maximize their damage output, and Chloros is no exception to that. His follow-up attack on the S3, once you take the stacks down, his chain lock, it's very, very good. He deals a lot of damage. If you invest in Chloros, you will have a really good time clearing Terramaton, at least up to health 3. But if it wasn't because my boy Holden is coming, and I truly believe Holden's going to be a very key character for at least Terramaton, I don't know if he would be taking priority over our boy Chloros, even though I made a whole video about it. But I think if you do have Chloros and you do not have Holden, I think you should at least 6-star Chloros. I haven't done mine as of right now, but I will think about it once I get my hands on Holden. But I have been using him like this. I have not invested pretty much anything into him. I got him up to level 40, ascended him to 5 stars, and I've been using him since level 1, ever since to farm Terramaton, and he's already up to level 26. It's been like a day and a half or 2 days since I've been using Chloros, and he has been really, really good, helping me clear it. His main thing is that he has this single target hit that allows Ditting to mark the Terramaton to actually kill the boss as fast as possible. So very, very good character. If you invest in that character, you will not have any issues with Terramaton in the future. Now, Green Kaz, in my opinion, she's a must 5-star. I think you can use her and get the most out of her at a 5-star level. She is green, and her best use is for Doki Doki. She's probably the best controller for Doki Doki aside from Mio, and she has helped me tremendously to having a pretty much close to 99% farm rate on my Doki Doki health 3, and like about a 70% farm rate on my Doki Doki health 4. Insanely strong. The only thing for Kaz is that you will need a little bit of investment in lattices. You need her S3 at a 3-turn cooldown with the maximum amount of chance of landing the attack down and the slumber, because this will help you remove the shield from Doki Doki's minions and help you deal more damage. But she has proven to be invaluable. I've been using her since she's a 4-star, have never used one of these on her yet, and she has leveled all the way to 40, then back down to 1, and now she's all the way back up to 16. And I'm not gonna invest any level ups into her. I'm just gonna use her like that because she's been working extremely well. Now, I have not needed to use the boy Kraken. I know in the beta he was insanely strong, but he got a slight nerf, and people are opting to not use him. I think I've seen 1 or 2 people still use him in Doki Doki, but for the most part, people are opting to use Marvel or Mio or Kaz or somebody else to control the team. Mio kind of came in and took his job and took Marvel's job at the same time. So yeah, now moving on to Freya. I think Freya is a must 5-star. You are going to use her in Doki Doki. You're going to use her in Terramaton, so you don't want her to die. Essentially, that's what it is. Freya is the type of character that you can pretty much use without investing anything into her, like at all. No, like level 1. You just need to give her some good modules and then let her level up on her own, and then she will do fantastically well. Now, Leon is an interesting one because the game kind of forces you to to get her to 6 stars. So she is, in fact, if there is a must 6-star, it's going to be Leon for the Hyperlink Charter. But if you were one of those players like myself who decided to reset her, you are going to want to eventually 6-star. I'm going to put her to eventually 6-star because she does bring that AoE fire DPS that has the pushback. And for some fights, having that type of character is going to be very beneficial. So I think eventually you should look into 6-starring Leon. Definitely not now, but maybe later on in the future when you have all of your farming team set up and you're looking to diversify your roster. Definitely Leon is going to be a character that you want to look into to 6-star to have that tool at your disposal. Now we have Ling Luo. I think Ling Luo is a must 5-star. Pretty much most of these characters are going to be must 5-star for the survivability aspect, but Ling Luo, yeah, if she's alive, she can heal your team pretty effectively, and you don't want her to die. So the best way of getting her to not die is to just obviously give her some good modules and a good shell, but getting her to level 45 at a 5-star, and that way she'll be able to protect your team a little better, especially for those harder fights like Aurora, for example, or Doki Doki, because people are using her in both. Now, Marvel, you can make the argument that he is a must 6-star because he is one of the faster characters that we have. He does get extra speed when you level him up to 6 stars, but in my opinion, he has only just been a must 5-star. I haven't needed him to do too much. I've used him in the Nico Nana farming, And he's been really good. I've used him in Nico Nana, I've used him in Shadow Flame Hoyan, and he's been really good for me at just 5-star. Before 5-star, he was just dying too much, so I had to get him up to 5-star to help him survive a little bit better. But ever since I got him there, he has been really well. Yeah, I mean, I got him. Literally, he's level 2. Like I got him to 5-star, and every time that I've used him since then, he's been phenomenal. So not a lot of investment to be done there. Next up, Messiah. If you have Messiah, you might as well just 6-star Messiah. He's one of the best CPS in the game. In PvP, he is cracked out. If you let your opponent fire off that S3, or if you fire off that S3 from Messiah in PvP, your odds are you are going to win, because unless the opponent has like a Heinrich or something, there's nothing they can do to kill him, and he's just going to kill 2 or 3 people by the time you're actually done with Messiah. So aside from that, you can still use him in Terramaton, you can still use him on Doki Doki, and you can still use him on Aurora. So he is an insanely strong character to have leveled up to 6-star. All right, moving on to Mio. This is another character I do not have, but I truly believe that Mio is one of the strongest healers that we have in the game. She has a lot in her kit. She has an AoE heal that extends your debuffs, reduces your cooldowns, and dispels buffs or debuffs that you have on your team. She also has a dispel on her S2, and also she gives shields on her S1. So she's a very strong character. She also has a pushback too on her S2 as well. So she is practically made for Terramaton. If I had Mio and I needed a team to like survive, instead of having like my Valerian, for example, which is a character that I'm going to eventually 6-star, because I don't have Mio, I would probably say that Mio is a must 6-star, because she's one of the only healers in the game that her healing actually scales off her own max HP. And this is very important, because a lot of the healers, like for example Ling Luo, her healing scales off whoever you're healing's max HP, and some of those characters don't have a lot of HP. But if you build a ton of HP onto Mio with a bunch of healing effects like the cure module set, and then the healing shell, you will be healing for a lot of HP. The only thing is that this is going to be on a 4-turn cooldown, so you're going to have, if you don't want to invest in lattices or gold lattices for Mio, you're gonna have to run her on like the Penguin or Halloween to get those cooldowns a little bit further down. But that's besides the point, because she heals a lot. She reduces your cooldowns, extends buffs, reduces debuffs, dispels and pushes back, and also gives you a shield with damage reduction. So Mio is a stacked out character, and because she scales off HP and her healing scales off HP, I would say she is a must 6-star healer. Just put her on 6-star and then farm her all the way up till she levels up to level 45 or 50. I don't think you have to invest any investigation materials or any XP books on her, but at least getting her to 6-star gives her that extra speed and gives her that extra potential for extra survivability, which you will definitely need. All right, Rahu is a character that I have not needed. He is a defense scaling character. He's also kind of like a pseudo DPS bruiser type of character. I've seen him clear Hell 4 in a few different teams. However, I don't think that I'm going to be the player that needs Rahu. So if you are a Rahu main, like Chaos, for example, he is going to be very good. And because he scales off defense, you are going to want to 6-star him, because you get more defense if you 6-star him. However, I have not necessarily needed Rahu, so I don't think I have Rahu, and I'm not gonna 6-star him, at least right now, until I start getting all my Inferno clears ready. Once that is done, I may consider eventually 6-starring him, because he does deal quite some good damage. I got clapped by Rahu on RTA today. It felt really bad. So he's a really strong character. However, for my experience, I haven't not needed him. I have not looked into him to like help me clear stage, if that makes any sense. All right, now Romolka, yeah, you have to 6-star Romolka. If you have Romolka and you're trying to clear Doki Doki using anything else, you're pretty much wasting some of your time, because Romolka is an insanely strong DPS for Doki Doki. Specifically, you can also use her on RTA and for farming, because she has the capability of just clearing the entire board, dealing 100% of the damage dealt to one enemy, and makes it AoE and makes it true damage, so it bypasses every passive that we have in the game. She also has this really neat passive here on her S1. It's called Sweetheart, that reduces her cooldowns by 1 turn after each kill. So if you wipe the entire board, she pretty much resets the skill again, so you have it available the next turn she goes. And if not, it's always on 3-turn cooldowns anyway, so even if you kill 1 or 2 characters, she will have it again pretty much the following turn. So she just spams this S3. So if you max out this S3 like I did on mine, you will have a really, really easy time on Doki Doki. You just have to figure out how much damage you need to one-shot the ads and then build her accordingly. She does need she does need some good modules, but if you can get that done, she will be an insanely strong powerhouse for your roster. I currently have her at 6 stars as well, and she is clearing Doki Doki left and right super easy. All right, similarly to Romoka, we have Rosa, and I think she's also a must 6 star. To me, I haven't 6 starred her just yet because I'm still figuring out my Termaton and trying to maximize my Doki Doki farming right now. Once I get deep into Aurora, I am going to look into 6 starring Rosa because she's probably the best DPS for there. Especially if you get access to the Revelation Shell, which makes her deal a little bit of extra true damage to Aurora, so it helps you tick her down every time. Oh, not every time, but whenever Revelation activates, it helps you tick down Aurora's HP a lot faster. Not only that, Rosa is very, very strong on shell farming, like Nico Nana, Whitney, all those type of content. She is very, very strong there. And if I remember correctly, in the beta, people were farming the last Grim Pursuit. They were farming it with Rosa as well. So needless to say that she completes the trifecta of RGB or red, blue, green DPSs, Chloros or Holden being one, or Leon being one, Romoka being for Doki Doki, and Rosa for Aurora and or the Grim Pursuits. I would recommend 6 starring Rosa if you have not already, or at least plan to if you haven't already. Next up, we got Sanya. I did use her in the beginning to farm Doki Doki, but once I started shifting my strategy a little bit, I kind of steered away from Sanya. I don't have Tiamat as well, so I'm going to put Tiamat over here because I have not needed her. But speaking of Sanya, I'm going to start using more aggressive strategies to build Doki, to kill Doki Doki, for example, and then for Termaton as well. Like once I started like building Didding and building Kloss and Romoka and all that stuff to clear the stage faster, I stopped using Sanya and I have not looked back ever since. It's been about 4 days since I used since the last time I used Sanya. And even now for Aurora, I use Ling Luo now instead. And I also have Valerian. So I really have no use for Sanya. If I would have known better, I would have built Valerian first instead of investing the little bit of EXP books that I did invest into Sanya early on. If you are a player that has a Tiamat and you want to maximize Tiamat, you haven't had your Ling Luo yet, then you can possibly eventually 5-star your Sanya and she'll do really, really well. All right, next up we got Tsukiyomi. She is a character that I've been using ever since she is a 4-star. And I did not invest any any XP books onto her or anything like that. She has been very, very good in some of the Grim Pursuit areas that I have used her, and I have not really had to invest much in her. She's still a 4-star. She's going to be eventually a 5-star once she completes this level right here. I will level her up to 5-star so I can keep using her. But as you can see, I've been using Tsukiyomi as a 4-star the entire time, and she has been really, really good. In my opinion, she is kind of like a mini Lily. She has cooldown reductions, she has action advances on her basic, she has action advances on her S3, and she is a defense scaling character, so she is not going to die as easy as, for example, Freya or Beoten, for example. So her and Beoten kind of fall in the same area right here, where you will use them, but you don't need to like invest anything into them or get them to 5-star or to 6-star for them to be useful. Eventually, since she is a defense scaling character, you are going to want to at least 5-star her. That's why she's at eventually a 5-star. And if you really, really want to invest in her speed, then you may want to 6-star her eventually. But as of right now, I don't recommend it. I just use her how she is, and she worked really, really well. All right, next up, Turandot. I haven't needed to use her just yet, but in Inferno Teramaton, he does get a immunity debuff to start the fight, and Turandot has a action delay and a dispel, up to 4 dispels that she can do in her S2, so she could be very, very good, very strong for Teramaton and Inferno and above. But as of right now, I haven't really needed to use her. Veronica, I don't even have her in my, I don't even have her. But even if I did, I don't think I need to use her, especially right now. And if you have, for example, a Heinrich, you're probably better off just using Heinrich anyway. Or even I can bring her up right now, the Red Kaz. You're probably gonna eventually 5-star her so she doesn't die. But she can serve pretty much the same purpose as like Turandot and Veronica. At least for the Termaton phases. Like in PvP, Veronica is going to be insane. If you have her like on Bulwark, something like that, that she can go after your opponents buff themselves and you can steal the buffs and give them to your own team, she's going to be insane. But for now, I haven't really needed her to pretty much clear anything as of right now. Next up, Viper. He's in an Aurora King. He is going to be very, very strong in Aurora. So I think eventually you're going to want to like 6-star him for Aurora if you don't have another DPS like Sonia, for example, or you don't have another Dispeller like Heinrich. You are going to want to eventually 6-star him because he will be very, very strong in Aurora to dispel at least and to deal some significant damage. Shiata is one of the better DPSs that we have, but she is kind of flying under the radar because she doesn't do anything like super flashy. So she is an eventual 6-star character regardless, because she is very, very good in Doki Doki. I think she can clear Aurora as well, and she is also very strong in the Grim Pursuits and also in PvP. So eventually, if you have a Shiata, you're probably going to eventually end up 6-starring her. I haven't used her just yet, haven't needed to use her just yet, but I think that this is a character that you may eventually have to 6-star just for roster diversity for PvP, and then she'll also help you in a lot of PvE situations. All right, next up we got Yang. He is one of the better dispellers for Aurora, but he's a character that all you have to do is get him to dispel the buff one time, and then you're going to burst down Aurora after that, so you don't really have to invest too much into him. You can just leave him as an eventual 5-star. You can leave him a 4-star, give him some gear, make him go fast, make him dispel, and then that'll be it. Even if he dies, it doesn't matter because he'll still gain levels, he'll still level up, and he still get the job done, which is dispelling that initial debuff. Now, next up, we got Mio. I've had Mio. I've been using Mio since pretty much day 2 or day 1 when I got her. She's insanely strong. For me, she's an eventual 6-star. I haven't 6-starred her just yet because in RTA, I'm kind of I'm kind of like dreading it, because if I 6-star her, as soon as I pick her in RTA, they're just gonna ban her. Even if I don't 6-star her, she's still getting banned pretty much all the time. But if you do end up 6-starring her, she will get that extra 6 speed. My main problem with Mio is that she just dies. She just takes too much damage. I don't know what it is. Bosses love hitting Mio, and she just dies. So, I mean, to me, she's an eventual 6-star. I think I can 6-star her right now. The only thing is that I am waiting for Holden to come out. So if I need to 6-star Holden, I will be able to. But that's the only reason that I have not 6-starred Mio just yet. I definitely do want to 6-star Mio. But that will come eventually. That's why I have her on the eventual 6-star. But aside from that, she's really good Doki Doki, really good Teramaton. She's not as strong in Teramaton, but she's really good in Doki Doki. She's really good in Shadow Flame Hoyan by freezing the little demons that hit you. She's good in Whitney. She's good in Nico Nana. She's pretty much good everywhere that's not Teramaton and Aurora. I think even in Aurora, you can use her. Actually, no, you can't use her in Aurora. But if it's Doki Doki or any other Grim Pursuits or any PvE content, and even in PvP, the times that they let me use Mio, it was raps. Like, Mio just doesn't let the opponent play the game at all, especially if you have her leveled up or skilled up like I do. So yeah, very strong character, eventually a 6-star. Born is another character that I think people are going to eventually learn how strong he is, and he's going to be an eventual 6-star character in my opinion. He is one of the more bulky, more tanky characters that deals a lot of damage while being really hard to kill. And I think a lot of people have been sleeping on him. I think he's really strong in Doki Doki as well, but he's not one of the flashier units or not one of the fastest units to clear. So you're not going to see a lot of him in the clearing stages or in the recent clears tab. But he is very, very good. And because he only scales with attack and he can't crit, you don't have to worry about those extra stats. So you can just focus him on attack and speed, and then that'll be it. Attack and HP, and that'll be it. Yeah, I think eventually I will be 6-starring my Born. I just don't know when. Selene, another really good character for Doki Doki, even though I haven't really needed her because I've been using Valerian to get shields. And she does have a control also, but I also use Cass to be my controller for that team. So I mean, even though she does cover the holes, helping your team survive and controlling the team aspect, I have 2 units that are 4-stars that require less investment, or that you don't have to invest any gold lattices to get them to work. But I do feel like she would be a really good character for Doki Doki. Now, Rechiaki, I haven't used her. I haven't needed to use her. Actually, I did use her in the beginning for Teramaton a little bit, and I think that because of that, you're eventually going to want to 5-star her. You don't have to level her up immediately, but she is a really decent healer. She cleanses, she has damage reduction. So for something like Aurora, she could work really, really well. However, there are other characters that will help you do that a little bit better. For example, Ling Luo that you get for free, and they're equally as easy to build. If not, I think Ling Luo is probably a little bit easier to build. Doki Doki don't have her, but I have seen her clear Doki Doki her own stage, I guess, in a few runs. So I can't really tell you a lot about Doki Doki. I've seen more of her in RTA than I did in PvP runs. I mean, anything that she can do, I have another character built up that can do that and a little bit better. The only thing that she doesn't do that I don't have another character that does is the cooldown reduction that she can do. But for right now, I haven't needed to use her at all. Same thing with Hellkid. Very, very good shield immunity with an attack-based shield is very strong. But however, Terramaton just eats through that really, really quickly. So in Terramaton, he is not going to do that well, at least in my opinion. For PvP, he's probably going to be a boss. But for right now, I haven't needed to use Hellkit in the slightest. And then Lilith, same thing. I have her. I just haven't needed to use her pretty much at all. She is very, very good in Doki Doki, by the way. She keeps the enemies controlled and stunned if you have her really well built, but it just takes a little while for that to happen. So a little bit of a review. There are some characters in the must 5-star area that you could consider being a must 6-star in my opinion. For example, Marvel. A lot of people are 6-star in Marvel because he is one of the faster characters we have. So people are looking to use him for PvP, but for PvP or PvE purposes, I have not had to level him up at all. You just put him on Swift Rush and their fastest set, and he'll do just fine. And you don't need to invest too much into him. Same thing can be said about Freya. She's a pretty fast character, but again, you don't have to do it. Klaus is another character. She's probably the fastest character in the game. So a lot of people are maxing out Klaus to get that first turn advantage. But the thing is that if you run Klaus and you don't run, for example, Freya alongside Klaus, you inflicting the debuff is not going to affect the turn order if you can't outspeed your opponent's fastest character with 2 of your characters, because Klaus outspeed, you don't get any action delays on there, and then you're just cooked because they're going to take their turn. All they have is a debuff or a few debuffs, and that'll be it. So that's why I'm leaving all these characters in 5-star, and then all these characters are 6-stars, because it's just their effectiveness just goes up like crazy if you have them a 6-star. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be the end of my who should you 6-star tier list. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Until next time, guys, see ya.